Hey guys, so word problems cause tons and tons of anxiety. So I want to give you a little procedure that you can always use for word problems. And I'm going to make a little printout for this that you can get on Canvas, so you can download it and you can kind of have it with you. I think you probably have that on the test. I'm not super concerned about it. So don't write anything else on there, and you can use that on the exam if you want. First things first, crucial step for solving word problems is that you don't panic. Panicking will make sure that you cannot get things right. So first, read a word problem. I realize there's tons of words there. There's lots of numbers. It probably doesn't make a bunch of sense right off the bat. First things first, do not panic. Breathe. Take a nice deep breath and realize it's just a math problem. It'll all be okay. If on exams or whatever, you guys want me to come over and tell you it'll all be okay, I'm more than willing to do that, and I've found that students appreciate it. So if you want me to tell you it's all okay, raise your hand. I'll come on over. I'll tell you not to panic. It's all going to be okay. It's just a math problem. It's not that big a deal, whether you get it right or wrong. But let's try. Trying is huge here. If you can try, you'll be okay. So the first thing you should do is you should read the problem. I recognize that you maybe won't understand all of it the first time you read it. That's totally fine. At this stage, you don't need to understand all of it right away. Okay? You just glance through it, see if you can get the general idea of what they're talking about. The first thing you're going to do after you read it is you're going to try to distill what are they talking about and make a picture. And I recommend that you run that step through Don't Panic. Okay? So, if you have literally no idea what they're talking about, draw any picture. Draw a duck, draw a penguin, whatever you got to do a little doodle, calm down, don't panic. If the problem says something about a house, I'm going to draw a really crummy picture of a house. If it says that there's a flock of sheep, I'm going to draw some little flock of sheep off to the side. It doesn't have to be a good picture. It doesn't have to represent the situation at all. Okay? Should have, hopefully, the words that are in the problem drawn, but, whatever. Close enough is close enough. We'll work on the picture when it comes to the next step, which is we're going to go through reading the problem and label the picture. And we're going to run that through Don't Panic too, just for good measure. Okay, so labeling the problem means I'm going to go through the problem and I'm going to pull the relevant numbers off or variable names or whatever I got to do, and I'm going to label my picture. Okay? Don't panic when you're doing that. If you don't know a name for something, probably just call it a variable. Pick good variable names, like, S for side or L for length. But once you get those letters on there, sometimes you'll realize, oh, hey, I know that, so I can cross that one out and relabel. Okay? Get the relevant information on your picture as much as you can. That's going to involve some reading, so you're going to have to kind of go back and forth there. You may find that you need to add or subtract from your picture. After you've got a good labeled picture, which, by the way, is about 2/3 of the credit for doing these problems, I think you want to try to write some math down. I'm going to glance that off Don't Panic too, because I realize that writing math down is tough. Hopefully you can write down the math, only the math that's relevant. But if not, write down all the things you know about the shapes or whatever that's involved in your picture and see if you can find a pair that'll work or 3 that'll work or something. We're going to have a bunch of examples of this. So I'm going to show you what write some math looks like later. Mostly that looks like write some equations. Then, after we not panic again, we're going to want to solve the math. So that's going to usually be pretty much the solving that we've been doing in class. So that step's probably going to be pretty easy. Once you've solved the math, I want you to bounce this off Don't Panic and write me a sentence. That sentence should say, the side is 3 meters long, or the penguin weighs 8 pounds. right? It's a full English sentence in the context of the problem that gives me the answer, right? As opposed to circling 6, right? Because shouting 6 at someone that asked you a question is not really a nice response, okay? This also lets you ballpark your answer. If you write down the penguin weighs 800 pounds, you might think twice about whether the penguin actually ought to weigh 800 pounds. You guys see that? So, I think this word problem procedure will serve you extremely well. Do feel free to print out the handout that I'm going to put on Canvas. And most importantly, remember, it's just a math problem. Don't panic.